What is up, my Makokos, Raid Pros, and Bonk Bros? Hope you're doing well today. Defender here, and welcome back to another video. Thank you for all the support recently over here and on my Twitter. I really appreciate how well both of them are doing. You guys are incredible with all your feedback, your comments, your interactions, voting on the polls, suggestions. It's just been a wild ride, and I really appreciate all of you. We're doing fantastic here, and I can't wait to make more videos with you. That being said, today I want to cover the top 10 picks for resources, websites, tools that we use every day in Lost Ark to make the gaming experience better, more enjoyable, have some fun, also to help us get through some content, and learn more, improve, because Lost Ark doesn't really have any extensions or tools that can be added into the game. Any add-ons, it doesn't have support for that, and it's actually against TOS for a lot of the things that you might be used to in normal MMOs, like a DPS meter, for example. That's not allowed in this game. Now there might be means to do it, but it's actually a bannable offense, and so most of the time we don't use something like that from a traditional MMO. We just rely on resources on websites and tools, discords and documents and stuff. So I'm going to go through my top 10 picks that I use every day to get through playing in Arcasia, and hopefully some of these are new to you. And if you're a newer player, I'll go through them in kind of an order that's more friendly to understand and accessible, moving into the more advanced ones as we go. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's get straight into the video. Alright, so number 10. Let's start off with what I deem as the true end game of an MMO. I think probably most of you will agree with me, and that is the skins, the cosmetics, the drip or drown, if you will, of gaming. And this one is namu.wiki. It is a Korean wiki version of all of the skins that they've had over there, and it's been pretty well updated. And what you can do is you can just kind of scroll through. You can see all of these different skins that they've had available to them. We're not getting them at the same chronology, the same speed that they got them. We're getting them quicker, but we're not getting them in the same order. So take with this obviously a grain of salt that we don't know when some of these are going to be given to us, but some of these are just truly incredible, and I cannot wait to see a lot of these come through to us. We've had some of these big ones already, in my opinion. We're still missing the biggest ones, like the anniversaries and the legends ones, the voted ones that are made by the community. These ones are truly incredible work of arts that we haven't seen yet, and there's just so many to go through. Like, I'm barely even touching the surface here, but some of these really good ones here. You know, we have these legend ones here. Just the warrior ones look incredible on their own. You know, and then you go into the more classes, and you just notice the difference in quality compared to some of the old skins. Now, one of the benefits to this webpage as well is that they have the original link to the official forums, which is the On Stove, and that lets you look at the original Korean website launch page for that skin when it was released. And so you can see kind of the details, the weapons, the mounts, etc. You can kind of click through them manually and see the differences, and I think that's fantastic, because it lets you kind of get more of an understanding of what they're like when they're released, because sometimes in the West they don't promote them the same way, or maybe they don't promote them at all really until they're in the store. So this is a really great tool to use. I use it almost every single day, just to have a look through, kind of plan which skins I might want to spend my money on, which skins I might pass, but you know, maybe which ones you might expect at a certain time of the year. We're coming up to Christmas, so there's some Christmas skins in here that you might expect to see. Who knows? But there are just so many to browse through that you're going to be here a lot. You won't get through it all in one sitting. So this is a great one to start with. It's the true end game of MMOs, in my opinion, and that, you know, is looking the best, looking unique. We don't want to look like, you know, a bunch of Andys all looking the same. So having a little bit of uniqueness in skins is crucial. So this is my top 10, number 10 pick. All right, let's get into number 9. Number 9 is Discord. Discord for me is a must, right? Whether you use Discord or maybe something similar, I don't know what other social platforms there are. Discord is a fantastic opportunity to, as a new player especially, get into the main communities in the game. There's an unofficial official Discord that's run by gamers from the community, and it has everything you might need to know about Lost Ark. It's also a great place to meet new people, talk with them. It has tips for new players, it has veterans that you can talk to, it has guides, it has looking for groups. So if you need to find a group, it also has looking for guilds, looking for statics. So static is a term when you want to find a group that you play with consistently to beat content. All these things are really, really important. There's not just this Discord though, of course, there's loads of different ones you can join. You might join one for a clan or a guild when you find one. There's ones from content creators as well. You know, I've joined a bunch of different content creators here that are fantastic. There's automated bot ones that let you know when things are spawning. There's cosmetic ones where people leave their presets. There's a whole bunch of different opportunities with Discord, and that's why it's got to be in here at my top 10, because it's something I use every single day, and not just to talk to people. If you're feeling a little bit anxious or antisocial, that's fine. You can just go on here and read the really important information about your classes, your builds, advice from PvP or announcements for the game. There's a whole list, there's a plethora of different opportunities with Discord, and so in my opinion it's a must, at least just to start with the Lost Ark one, and I'll leave a link in the description below for that one, and then you can branch off from all the different links in there if you want to. Alright, coming in at number 8, this is probably not a surprise to a lot of you if you're already playing the game, or maybe you have experience with a lot of isometric 2.5D games. Lost Ark is covered heavily on a website called Maxroll, and they're popular for all the other Diablo and Path of Exiles, the PoE games. So Maxroll covers pretty much anything you could imagine when it comes to Lost Ark. They have so much information available to you. As a newer player especially, this is the go-to. This is where a lot of people will recommend that you go and read kind of anything, tutorial, guide, horizontal content. Before you get into a raid, it's good to read the introductions to the raids, the PvPs. There's tips on honing, there's leveling up. You know, there's so much you could possibly go into, and I've not even touched the surface on it really. As a newer player though, coming on here, looking at your different classes build guides, so you might say you're playing an assassin and you're interested in playing, let's say, a reaper. A big shout out to Brenton, by the way, if you don't know any of Brenton's content. Brenton is a fantastic Reaper streamer over here in the West, Canadian streamer. But you would just click on one of these guides, maybe say you're interested in a raid build, you click on a raid build, and you click through, and it's just going to walk you through how to build the class, kind of giving you an overview on all of the skills, the gear you might want to use, the abilities and why, and how to align your points as you level, and it kind of gives you a really, really good introduction into the class. And then you can go away with this information and start building and see how you like it. So yeah, very, very thorough, good opportunity to play with this website. It also has a lot of opportunities around the horizontal content, like I said, and even a builder for your class. So you might want to have a play around with the builder after you decide you're interested in the Reaper, and all you have to do is then select that, and then you can, you know, pick all the skills you want to play with. You can choose the tripods, the gear you want to play with, so you can choose the different gear sets, your cards, gems, everything. It's a very, very comprehensive website, and it's good for beginners to intermediary players. And then maybe as you get a bit more advanced, you might move away from it in terms of the builds and the class guides, because they do change and get a bit more outdated as you play them more advanced. Okay. Alright, so number 7. Now, before you guys flame me for this one, I know a lot of people don't enjoy Reddit, and I myself am more of a lurker, to be honest anyway, but Reddit is a fantastic opportunity to find out cutting edge updates, content, and also just really, really funny and relaxing kind of casual content as well. You know, like I really appreciate just coming on here and looking at something like this, for example. You know, you can really see some nice stuff, and also there are some good memes on here, and it's just a great opportunity to interact with silly people. There's can be a lot of complaining as well, but also it's a great place to see some fun clips, just to relax a bit. And also, if you have anything to vent, it can be a good place to go as well. But generally speaking, I use it just to relax a bit, to unwind. It has a good opportunity to learn as well. There are some topics you might want to click on, like this mentor and learning, and also the Q&As. They're good opportunities to ask questions and learn more if you're not on the Discords, or maybe you don't feel like talking about it in the Discords. But also you can sort by the more popular ones. And there are also some really, really good opportunities in the higher ones to find some really good content creators. Especially there's one you might not know called Sivo, or just Sivo for the most part. He makes some amazing content, and he posts a lot of really, really interesting infographics. And I'll see if I can find one for you now as we're doing this. And he posts a lot of infographics on Reddit for people to help them understand kind of processes of honing or leveling up or getting ready for raids. And here we go, here's one now. So Sivo here, you might want to just follow him on Reddit if you haven't already. We just go through his posts. Some of his best ones really are just the guides, the infographics. You can see here a very, very detailed understanding of supports. And he's done plenty of different guides for things like this, synergies, gearing up for raids, honing efficiently. So Reddit has some really, really useful tools for things like this to help people understand. So if you haven't already, check out Reddit. It's something I use every single day for a lot of different things. And it's definitely worth your time if you find things like this as well. So that's number 7. Alright, so number 6 is a website called Lost Merchants. Now, there's a few different variations of this already, and Discord actually has one as well, an automated system to let you know when there are spawns. But what it is, essentially, is a notification site that will ping you when there are spawns of merchants that travel around the world and spawn every half an hour, I believe it is, or maybe every hour. And they have set spawn patterns, and they have loot tables that they can have, that they sell cards and food items for your adventurous tome, and also legendary and epic rapport items. And the benefit of having this tool set up is that it will just ping you and let you know when a spawn happens, right? So up here we can see it's pinged through with the notifications on the push settings. It's pinged through to let me know that there's a legendary rapport item up currently in Melody Forest. And if I go back to just the main website here, it's going to say here, Annika, and 22 people have confirmed, 23 people, including myself if I tick that, have confirmed that it is real, and it shows you on the map where to go. You can click on it for a little bit more detail if you're not familiar. And the way I utilize this tool, really, really useful, is if I have multiple characters, I just set up a Bifrost in different regions across the world that I want to collect the ones that are spawning. So maybe I set up one character in Punica, one character in the Verns, one character in the Luteras, one in Yorn, one in Annika, one in Arthetine, Shishai, etc. And then when one spawns and I'm online, I get a ping to go to that location. I check if it's confirmed by the people, because sometimes it's just people guessing and it might not be real. You check it, you go to the character that has the quick travel, and you're already in that region then, and then you can just fast travel to the town that it's listed at. So this one's listed at Melody Forest, so I know I just go out here, zoom out, I go to the Melody Forest teleport, and we're going to collect the legendary rapport. And you're probably thinking, why do I want rapport? It's only linked to horizontal content, but actually rapport plays more of a bigger role than you think. Aside of the horizontal content, what we can do with rapport is we can take the rapport from the vendors and maybe the giveaways and stuff that they're giving you free for the logins, and you basically, if you go to your stronghold, we can go over to the Vitameow exchange, and we can exchange this for Vitameow, and Vitameow can then be fed to the pets in the ranch, and we can see that if we give them this, they're going to have more energy to produce more jam cookies. And when they produce jam cookies, we can then exchange those here for these chests, okay? And it's going to have a chance to give you some tokens. And the tokens can then be, it's a bit of an elongated process, but the tokens can then be exchanged for 20 of them to turn into a legendary pet. And legendary pets are crucial, because legendary pets give you a much desired bonus effect that can proc every 3 minutes for the character when they're in combat. Some of these are fantastic, right? So 20% specialty meter gain is huge for any spec-based class. We also have movement speed, we have health that can be recovered, we have mana that can be recovered, and cooldowns for standing up. These are all really, really nice quality of life things to get, and you should be aiming for them if you haven't already got them. Alright, so number 5, we're halfway through already. Number 5 is the official Lost Ark forums. Now, gone are the days of official forums, if you will, for games. We have these big general forums like Reddit and Discords and Twitter as a forum, if you will. And so we don't really use official forums for games that much anymore, but Lost Ark's one is really booming. It has a lot of content in there. It's the first place that updates really get put out, and also it's really active place for the community managers. You can even track the community managers, like Rox, for example, and you can see when she's posting, what she's posted, and you can even be notified when a certain one posts some content, because they obviously work for different regions, different languages. And also, it's just a great place to go and discuss any issues you might be having. It should be the first place you go if you have any issues, as opposed to Reddit or Twitter or something. Always come to the official forums, and you're bound to get a reply from somebody pretty quickly. But also, it's a great place to have a discussion with people as well. It can be a little bit toxic, just like Reddit or Twitter would, but that's in any social media platform. It's no different. So just take, obviously, this with a grain of salt, but it's absolutely worth checking out. And if you are seeing if there's any updates, it's the first port of call, really. So this is a must. I have this open pretty much every day. And I'll just look for any important updates on maybe something like server issues or bug fixes or server downtimes, or maybe even things like compensations or upcoming updates. Yeah, it's a great place to go to. So make sure you have a look at this, make an account, and just set up notifications at the very least, even if you don't use the website every day. All right, so number 4. Number 4 is Papunica. Now, if you don't already know what Papunica is a website similar to Maxroll. It's a very, very useful tool that was built before the Western version, and it basically has similar information to Maxroll, interactable maps, guides. It has lots of information. See you later, Ricky. Lots of information available. The biggest one for me, though, was the map, the world map. And I used this a lot whilst I was leveling up and finishing my horizontal content. So I'm a big fan of horizontal content. There's a lot of opportunity there to improve, and there's some really important stuff in there for people trying to get better in vertical content as well. And so I think everyone should try horizontal content in some form, at least for the bare minimum bonuses that you'd get from the rewards. And it's very, very simple to use. It has interactable maps, it has keys to turn on and off things you're interested in. Maybe you just want to go for the Makokos, you can turn everything else off but the Makokos. Maybe you want to do the adventurous tome, and so there's food that you might want to go for with ingredients and stories and different bosses and different monsters you need to kill for the discovery. These kind of things are really, really interesting and really, really easy to use. So it's worth a shot. Just to give it a go. And also, if you want, there's more information on all the collectibles, tools you can use. It's just a very, very comprehensive website that I've used from the first day I started playing, really. I think it was shared in a Discord link, and I've never stopped using it since. So if you haven't already tried it, check it out. Very, very easy to use, very beginner friendly, and simple. It's also been constantly updated and improved. I mean, it's just a very, very simple off the get-go kind of thing to use, and you'll learn everything you need to know from something like this. I think they even have a supported Discord channel as well, so check that out. I'll leave the link in the description to the website and to the Discord. Alright, so number 3, we're getting a bit more into the advanced kind of progression, if you will, and that is understanding the market. This will save you a lot of money, a lot of time, and it also is just a great tool to know if it's worth to invest in something. Now, I've got it set here to the European market because that's where I play, and what it does is it just shows you the trends. It's updated by players to know what's worth selling, what's worth buying, for example. So you can see here the prices have decreased in this, for example, over the last maybe week or so. I think it has. You can see the dates on here, so it's got about a week's worth of data, and you can see the prices have gone down by 20%, for example, and so you know that maybe the prices are worth investing in because they're lower, or maybe you can see the trend is going upward, so it's worth holding on to if you want to sell them later. And then also, they have a really great tool here, which is the crafting calculator, and that lets you know if something is profitable to craft it. And I use this a lot if I need to make a little bit of gold on the side, and I'm not sure what to make gold. It just lets me know this is going to make you some gold if you have the available resources. It doesn't take into account, obviously, the crafting cost or the resources that don't have gold value, so like the stronghold coins that you get from dispatches. And it also doesn't take into account if it's going to sell. It doesn't tell you if the demand is there. So there's a few things to take with a grain of salt. But as an overall, this website is fantastic. It's good to see trends on things, and you can track certain things you're interested in, for example. So I could mark this as a favorite, and then down the line I can take a look at it and just see if the price is going to be worth investing in, or if I wanted to sell it, when to sell it. It's a really interesting tool that's community updated and worth looking at when you're in the more advanced kind of end game or intermediary to end game experience, so that you can save gold, understand how the market works, because certain days of the week they will be cheaper and certain days will be more expensive. And it goes around that whole idea of the weekend is where more players play, and the reset is where most people have things to get rid of. So those kind of fundamentals. But it's all built in here, and you can even understand if crystal purchases are valuable or not from Mari's secret shop. So it's worth considering. Something I check out every single day when I'm looking to either buy something, sell something, or maybe make a bit of money on the side, or see if something is worth its money that is being charged. So check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. Set your region that you play on, and you're off to go immediately. Alright, so rounding off number 2 then, in my personal favourite is the community guides, or the community documents. There's a plethora of these. You can't go wrong, really. There's something for everybody. There's some really informative ones. Hello, Chloe. Some really informative ones, some guides, some ones to help you with your market and your cash tracking, ones to help you with endgame content, ones to help you with the harder Inferno content, and ones to give you kind of information on kind of the metadata, if you're interested in kind of the small minutiae of how things work. Maybe you want to know the value of something like Keen Blunt Weapon, for example. You can understand how this works based on your crit and the stats that you're running. Maybe you want to know the stagger of certain abilities for different classes, which ones have the most and bring the most to the game. You can go through that. A little bit outdated, but I think it's still relevant. We have things like the Hell mode, Academy, where they have the builds for different classes, and you can go through and see what people run and how they get through successfully, as well as guides for the Hell mode. I mentioned Sivo before in the Reddit discussion. These are his documents for guides on different classes. Very, very in-depth. Worked with a lot of people for all of these. You just click on the one you want to go to that he's done, and it'll take you to it, and you can go through the list of everything he's written for them. Very, very in-depth, extremely recommended. I'll leave a link to his in the description as well. We have things like the trends in the market. Like I said before, these were filled out by players, so you knew if something was worth selling. We have a great tool here by Nabzy. This is one that lets you kind of track your progress, know the expenses of things to get to certain gear levels. So make a copy of this. It's very it looks very intimidating to use, but it's actually very, very user-friendly. He walks you through how to do it all. He has his socials here, which is worth checking out, by the way. Fantastic. And you just click through. You put in the information you want to achieve here, for example, and your storings that you have saved so that you don't have to buy stuff, and it will tell you the cost to get to the level you're aiming for. I've got like 1 hone left to hit, and it's going to tell me how much resources I would need and how much gold I would need to spend to hit that. So a very, very useful tool. It's got a lot of elements to it that you can use. I think it's fantastic and not used enough. So check that out if you're looking to go maybe towards your 5x3 or your higher eye levels to get ready for the raids. And then this last one, this is a huge one. I love this one. This is by Edison's Maths Club. I believe the original, it says here, original was by Kashi. And this one, a lot of streamers and content creators have linked before, so it's nothing new. But what it is you put in the value of the currencies, of the materials on the market for the raids you're doing, and it will tell you if buying the chests from the raids in different gates is worth it for you or not. Bear in mind, it's going off the value of the materials, not whether or not you need the materials, but whether or not the value is cheaper than buying it on the market. And it doesn't take into account also the things that can't be valued, so things like fused leapstones and card packs, which are RNG in different values. Also the honing material currencies that you get, like from Valtan and Vicus and Clown, they don't come into account. It's just the prices of the materials. And as you can see here, for me at the moment, last time I updated it, everything was worth buying, even as a player that's over 1490. So a lot of the time it's just worth it for the shards alone. As you can see, they bring a lot of value, but it's great for new players and players that are kind of intermediary level in between the raids to know whether or not they should still be buying boxes from things like Argos or Valtan, even though they're already going up to Brelshaza and they're ready for her. So worth checking out. I can't link every possible community document in the game because there's just so many people share on Discords and Reddits and Twitter and official forums, and they just get passed around, and the big ones tend to get known very quickly. I'll link all the ones that I personally use every day because these ones are fantastic. Sivo's community guides are probably one of my favorites, just because even for classes I play, I like to read through them and maybe I'll learn something new every time I go through. So I check his out almost every single day, especially for upcoming classes that he's worked on. As you can see, there's ones for artist, ones for summoner, and he's done pretty much every single other one in the game right now. So worth clicking on, having a look, and I'll leave all the other ones kind of like with the extra metadata and looking through them and maxing in the description as well. These are huge opportunities to advance in the end game and to make the most out of your time spent in the game. So absolutely my number 2 in the top 10. And my number 1, by far and away my number 1, I use this every day without doubt. This is a Korean website, so first off you will need to have a translator. I just have Google Translate on at the top here to translate to English from Korean, so make sure you have a translator, or if you speak Korean then you're fine as well. But it is a lower website that is basically a database of everything in game. They pulled every player in detail and all the information around kind of like the metadata, if you will, of all the player base, so we can know like what's popular, what people use, how they build their classes, abilities, etc. And it's also just a place to go for everything else on the Korean servers, similar to like Invenwood, for example. So it's a good place to start off for anything Korean based if you're interested in how they're getting on their servers. I use it to know how to build for the future of the class I'm playing, or maybe if I'm playing a new class, what skills they use or how they allocate their points. It's good to compare versus the guides that are written for us in the West, because some of them can be amateur level or intermediate level, and you might want to play at a more advanced level, for example. So a simple example here is just go rankings, which is to rank the players in terms of their eye level, and you can choose the class that you're interested in. For example, I might choose Destroyer, because that's the class I play, and I choose Rage Hammer, and that's Hammer of Wrath is the translation, for example. And then I would click on the eye level I'm interested in. We're just going to go all the way to the top, and we'll just choose the 1625 eye level. And we just click through to a player through this new window, or if you click on their name, and it's going to take you to that player's account, if you will, of the database, showing you everything they have equipped, even shows you their quality of their items, shows you their engravings, even shows you an image of the character if they have the data available. It shows you their stats, how their gear is equipped, for example. So you can see here he's running a heavy crit build with some specialization and a little bit of swiftness. And then if you even click through to the skills, you can see how they've aligned their tripods, how many points they have in their tripods, and also the gems and the runes they have equipped on all their abilities. You can see how they played in the horizontal content, which guild they're in and all the people in their guild. You can see all their characters they use, how they acquire their gold every week, and also you can see their cards that they have selected and how they rank. It's a huge database for people to have a look at different classes and how they're played, but also you can look at the statistics. I'm a huge statistics person. I used to be a data analyst for the government, so I love looking at all of the info on databases for information for people, how they play as a generalization. You can see here how the breakdown of the servers go, and you can even click on the skills and engraving. So I like to look at the engraving, because then you can see the class and how it's played. So for example, here I have Summoner selected from before, and if I was to go here and click on Senior Summoner, which is one of the 2 class engravings, and then it's going to show me all the different engravings that people run and how popular they are, sorted by popularity for that engraving. So you can see here, if I select this one, it's a Grudge is the most popular, and then Keen Blunt, and then level 3 up the class, and then Adrenaline, and then Raid Captain. You can go off the images as opposed to the name because the translation is a bit rough, but it helps you know that these are the most popular engravings. It doesn't tell you why, but obviously you can discern that based on kind of knowledge of the classes and the engravings. And you can do the same thing with skills. You can see which skills are mostly used by that class. Again, it doesn't tell you why, but it gives you a breakdown of which tripods are the most popular. So you can see here 97.3% of people that use this skill use the number 3 tripod, the number 1 tripod, and then the number 2 tripod. So you know it's a safe bet if the numbers are that high that those are the go-to tripods in most of the situations. And you can see here again, this is kind of like an even split. So you might want to look at both these tripods and think, which one do I want? Is it a case of changing it for different scenarios? It's a fantastic tool to use, and I cannot recommend it enough. I have a page up for this every day I play, just so that I can look through players and how the classes are played and the choices that people make. Obviously, we have some considerations to make when you're looking at this. We don't have ancient gear, so it might be worth just sorting by the eye levels that we have available to us right now and compare direct. Or if you look at people that are higher in the 1600s, just bear in mind we don't have bracelets, we don't have ancient gear yet, so we can't achieve the same level as them in terms of those things and skill points as well. So what you're seeing is a snapshot of where they're at compared to us, and they're probably a year ahead in terms of content. So just bear that in mind when you're reading these things. But this is absolutely my #1 pick. Check it out. Make sure you translate it. You will not regret looking through this website, okay? #1 pick by far. I'll leave a link in the description. And rankings and statistics are my 2 favorite tools to look through. You will not regret scrolling through those and looking through the player information, okay? It is a fantastic learning opportunity. And remember, guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider dropping a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I'd really appreciate that. It helps me push the content out to more people. And you also always appreciate it, wouldn't you, Bubba? You say thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, you're so shy. You're such a shy baby. You say bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you in the next one. Good boy.